Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, the top story today, according to the mainstream media, is that allegedly General Mike Flynn asked for immunity in exchange for his testimony. But of course, once again, they've gotten the whole story all taken out of context in order to push their narrative. Now, Donald Trump actually tweeted out saying, you know what, he should ask for immunity because this is absolutely a political witch hunt environment. Sean Spicer underscored that as well, saying, there is no worry about what Mike Flynn is going to say under oath. It's just that he's being put in an unfair position and they are going to take everything he says out of context, which is, of course, just to underscore that it is a political witch hunt. They took his statement and said, oh, well, he must have committed a crime because that's what he accused Hillary Clinton of when she was asking for immunity in 2016. Anyone who seeks immunity in that case must have committed a crime. So they say, oh, well, you're guilty too. And here's his actual statement. We've got the full statement there up at Infowars.com, but I'll just read a part of it that was given to the Daily Caller. So he says, notwithstanding his life of national service, the media are awash with unfounded allegations, outrageous claims of treason, and vicious innuendo directed against him. He is now the target of unsubstantiated public demands by members of Congress and other political critics that he be criminally investigated. No reasonable person who has the benefit of advice from a counsel would submit to questioning in such a highly politicized witch hunt environment without assurances against unfair prosecution. So because they say, we can see this is a setup, we know we're walking into the lion's den, nobody who is able to have a good counsel there is going to walk into this political lion's den and just be ready to be consumed. And like they point out, they're getting these unsubstantiated demands from members of Congress in the public because they are wanting to try him in the court of public opinion. It doesn't even matter what comes out. They immediately twist his words and say, oh, look, he wants to be protected against unfair prosecution. He's guilty. He must have committed a crime. So there you go. That just underscores the political witch hunt that he is dealing with here. They're not even going to give him a fair trial. So we have an article from Jerome Corsi, who has obtained a copy of an email that's being circulated amongst retired U.S. senior military officers regarding this request to be granted immunity as a condition of his testimony. And a top insider says Democrats are targeting Flynn because he blocked Obama backing al-Qaeda and ISIS, that invasion. So this is what the media will not reveal to you. This is what's being circulated with high-level sources. So the body of the email is produced there without any editing. He did put in some clarifications added into the text, but those are in brackets, so you can read kind of the full email that's going around. But it reveals there's a growing consensus among retired senior U.S. military that the Democrats are scapegoating Flynn. And so they point one, there's 8 points in total. Point one, Flynn seriously and in an outright manner criticized the Obama administration while Mike was active duty as director of the Defense Intelligence Agency for their severely underestimating the threat, at least publicly, understating the threat of the rather rapid rise of ISIS. Throw in the backdrop of ISIS being created and logistically supported by the Obama administration, specifically the arms shipments that the U.S. administration originally facilitated to equip and train the Libyan militias that overthrew and eventually murdered Gaddafi. They used that to attack and kill the standing U.S. ambassador during the Benghazi attack. Then they're kind of giving you the timeline here of how you can see that there's this buildup where he really ruffled the feathers of the Obama administration, speaking out publicly that they totally failed in their mission, that they underestimated the threat. Meanwhile, they are arming and supporting ISIS, essentially. Al-Qaeda, defected to ISIS. But then he was fired from DIA by Obama via James Clapper. And then he got even there because he retired. He was like, you can't fire me, I'm retiring. And then, of course, he backs Trump, triumphing over Obama, Clapper, and Brennan by Trump getting elected. And then, of course, even further one-upping them by being selected as NSA, the advisor there to President Trump. So, I mean, it goes on here, but this is a consensus. A lot of people are very clear that they're scapegoating Flynn, that it is going to be a witch hunt. It doesn't matter. They're going to besmirch his name regardless, which is why his entire statement that he released to the media, which they're not going to show you, lists all of the different accolades that he has. He's a well-respected man. I think it was a big mistake for Trump. Who knows if we'll find out, what the reason was behind that. But I kind of think it was a big mistake to bow down and out him so quickly based on the urging of the Democrats, because we knew it wasn't going to end there. Now we have, actually, you know what? We've got a little commentary from Owen Schroyer because he has his own conspiracy theories about what's going on with Flynn.
With the whole Michael Flynn thing, I smell a troll, folks. I think I smell a troll here. A troll maybe as big as the Trump wiretapping tweet. See, I think what Michael Flynn has done is he's created an environment now where there's this narrative that he wants immunity because he's got a big story to tell, folks. Michael Flynn needs his immunity because he's got some big details on this Russia investigation, right? That's the spin. That's why he needs the immunity. That's why everyone's paying attention. I think it's a big fat nothing burger. I think it's set to flop as big as Rachel Maddow's shows on Donald Trump's taxes. And I think Flynn knows it. And he put that bait out there saying, I need immunity, to get people talking and thinking like, oh my gosh, this is it. We're finally going to get the details. We're finally going to know how Russia did it. We're finally going to know who Flynn was talking to. And there's nothing there. So that's just what I think. I don't know if that's the truth, but that's my opinion. I'm smelling a troll on this deal from the get-go.
And for some more evidence that the mainstream media is trying to drive its narrative and attack Trump, the story is not about the fact that there were criminal leaks attacking Trump that were proving that he was being surveilled and then outing American citizens. No, the big issue here is that Representative Devin Nunes decided to go and give this unprecedented press conference and go what he felt was his obligation to let the president of the United States know what was being said about him and that he was indeed incidentally being surveilled. Well, now he's the bad guy for doing that. And so where does the New York Times send their money to investigate the situation? Well, they out Nunes and cite his sources. So these are the New York Times is claiming that 2 White House officials provided Representative Nunes, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, with intelligence reports showing that President Trump and his team were swept up in foreign surveillance by U.S. spy agencies. And then they go on and identify these White House officials who provided this intelligence. So here it's okay to out who is providing these intelligence, who's leaking this information. But when it comes to who was doing it within the Obama administration, where they're actually committing a felony and outing U.S. citizens and allowing it to circulate throughout the government, that's not a big deal. Let's not even investigate that. Let's not talk about that. The problem is that Nunes was asked to meet the officials in a secure location at the White House, where people with security clearances could view classified reports. What a scandal. And then it's also a scandal that he didn't go up the chain of command and tell Schiff what he knew, which anyone with a brain knows that if he would have done that, Schiff, who's made it his mission to attack Trump, would have killed the story. So this is what's having to happen. You see people like Nunes, people that are saying, I felt that it was my obligation to serve the president and give him this information. He's the bad guy, not the people who are involved in kind of this backdoor coup that thought they would never be outed because they truly thought Hillary Clinton would be put into the White House. I mean, it's total madness here. And Nunes, with his groundbreaking interview that he gave, he pointed out that there was no evidence, once again, no evidence of collusion between President Trump's team and Russia on the night of the presidential election, or well before then, because now it's being reported that Trump was actually being incidentally surveilled before he was even the GOP nominee. So this was going on for quite some time, and I'm sure that there was information was being circulated and given to Clinton's campaign as well, which is why she at the debates kept kind of nudging him a little bit and saying, well, what about Russia, Trump? And she'd just smile and smirk a little bit, and he'd be like, I don't really know what you're talking about, lady, because the information was being circulated around, and I'm sure she got wind of it as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about the latest WikiLeaks release. This is 676 files released today as part of WikiLeaks Vault 7. Now, David Knight's really going to break down the insight that we received today, but this is regarding CIA's Marble software. What it does, it forensically disguises viruses, Trojans, and hacking attacks. And so it can go in, and WikiLeaks says that the source code suggests Marble has test examples in Chinese, Russian, Korean, Arabic, and Farsi, which is the Iranian language. So basically, it can go in and change the source code to make it appear as if it's written by the Chinese, the Russians, anyone, North Korea, anyone they feel like blaming an attack on, a cyber attack, which is extremely dangerous because, like Hillary Clinton said, she would consider a cyber attack an act of war, and she'd be willing to go to war with a country who hacked into the DNC. That, for her, is justified, that they allegedly revealed all the corruption that was going on within the DNC. They're the bad guys, not the people actually committing the crimes within the DNC. So this is why it's very dangerous, because if you have the CIA using software that can change the source code, and then they can say that we are being attacked by Russia, now we need to go and attack them back, very dangerous. And once again, we're pointing the finger at all these other countries, but again, it's our own government that is involved. Now, it's not enough that George Soros and his Open Society group, the Ford Foundation, it's not enough that they have contributed about $72 million since roughly 2006 to nonprofits that have been most active in pushing this net neutrality as well as privacy rules on the broadband industry. The reason why was because they were wanting to give the government a very firm foothold in regulating the internet. So they've been involved in this push for a very long time. But now we find out that Google wants its own puppet in as the FTC chair to block any antitrust action. So they're running this silent campaign to make sure that President Trump appoints as permanent chair of the FTC a candidate that the tech giant is certain will never press an antitrust investigation of the company. So this is especially important given the steps that the Trump administration took to advance a bill through Congress that would cancel the FCC order on internet privacy. This is one that President Obama engineered in October 2016 at the urging of Google, rammed in at the last minute. So the White House was not abandoning internet privacy, but transferring the rulemaking on internet privacy from the FCC to the FTC. And this, Spicer said at a press conference, the previous administration, in an attempt to treat internet service providers differently than edge providers, such as Google and Facebook, reclassified them as common carriers. Basically what this does is it opened a door to unfair regulatory framework. So it would allow all of your service providers to be treated fairly and consumer protection and privacy concerns to be reviewed on an equal playing field. Google wants to game the system. They want to be able to take your privacy or take all of your information and sell it to the highest bidder. They do not want your internet service providers, like your telecom, your giants. We'll be getting to that in just a minute with Michael Zimmerman, because this is huge. They want to like level the playing field here, but you can see, I don't think any of it is very good. They're all wanting to take our data and sell it to the highest bidder. But here you're seeing how Google and Facebook as well, they were trying to game the system in their favor and then sell it to us as this net neutrality and internet privacy. It was intended to tip the scales toward the largest telecommunication giants on the internet, while everyone else would have just kind of never been able to rise. Now, we'll talk more about that with Michael Zimmerman when he comes in, as well as what you can do to protect yourself from all of these referendums that the president has yet to sign on whether or not private companies can sell your information to the highest bidder. Speaking of that, article out of Zero Hedge, facial recognition tech could ensnare millions of innocent Americans for crimes they didn't commit. That's right. Full steam ahead, breakneck speed. Our laws and society, legal code can't even keep up with this crap. But according to their own documents, this facial recognition software is so ill. The margin of error here is a 1 in 5 chance of recognizing the wrong person. So 1 in 5 chance you could be charged with the wrong crime.
By the way, here's a list of the evidence that they have gathered that would implicate Donald Trump and his staff and Infowars for colluding with the Russians. You see that? They got nothing.
Alex Jones here with a very important news update to anybody out there that wants to be prepared. But it goes beyond being prepared. Our bodies absolutely must have the good halogen iodine or we will die. And you look at all of the thyroid problems and all the people that don't have energy and that have all sorts of hormone problems. And from my research and a lot of just mainline research, it leads back to iodine over and over and over again. It's as important as vitamin C. If you don't get iodine, you die. But most people are just deficient, so they're low energy, they're sick. You got to have iodine in your body so that your body can produce the hormones you need. It is the base to so many things. And since I got into iodine 4 years ago, we've helped change the entire paradigm by developing and bringing to the public deep earth crystals from 7,000 to 12,000 feet of the purest iodine available. Other iodine comes from the ocean or from other byproducts of chemical facilities and is tainted. It's bound. It's not absorbable. I tried it. And I had incredible effects even with dirty iodine because the body needs it. When you don't have iodine, it absorbs the chlorine, the fluoride, and all these other bad halogens. Do yourself and your family a favor and check out the importance of iodine for yourself. I think you're going to be blown away. And whatever you do, support the broadcast and get a bottle of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2. Also consult your physician because if you've been deficient in it or have other issues, it can have some dramatic effects. As for me and most folks I talk to, it's been a game changer in the positive column, but still consult your physician because iodine is no joke. It's a key building block of the body. And if you haven't had it for a long time and suddenly have it, some folks say they've experienced things like a detoxing effect and things like that. You've got to have vitamin C. You've got to have iodine to live. You got to have water to live. Iodine is key. You must have it, but consult your physician first before you get powerful Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2 at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll free. We can answer your questions, 888-253-3139.